4 is getting started, it looks like here, so let's do that. So we have, looks like Mono Green Stompy did make it. So Stompy versus Bantel Eldrazi here in our finals. This guy's playing for 4-0 here tonight. So turn 1 for Stompy, we had a experiment 1. Rick had nothing on his turn 1. Turn 2, we're gonna have a second experiment 1, and then we're gonna get in for 1. So down to the 19 goes Rick. End of his turn, he'll go ahead and he'll fetch, finding some sort of colored mana. Don't know if he has a temple in his hand or not. I did see a Matter Reshaper, so he could have a turn 2 Matter Reshaper. He gets Breeding Pool out of the deck. Could also be turn 2 Eldrazi Sky Spawner with that mana. Okay. Untaps, draws a Windswept Heath. I believe... No, I guess not. Oh, yes, yeah, there it is. Yeah, he does have a temple. So, Eldrazi Temple. Do we have Sky Spawner or Reshaper? Reshaper feels like the better play because you're going to be trading more than likely. You have to imagine that he has a creature to bump up these experiment ones next turn. The trick is if he has 2 or not, so... Even that's not that bad, though. Third Forest, I think it's going to be a Colonian Tusker. Nope, Scavenging Ooze, that works as well. So, gives both of the experiments a +1/+1 counter. So, a pair of 2/2s now in play. Actually, a trio of 2/2s now in play. The problem with Mono Green Stompy is it has to, like, if it's not attacking, it's losing usually. Not always, but he's just going to pass turn. He doesn't want to trade away Experiment 1 for Reshaper trigger. Okay, Windswept Heath for Rick. 3 mana. Okay, so he also had Sky Spawner, so bring along with an Eldrazi Scion token. And just pass the turn back. Rick, I feel... I don't know if it's correct, but he's assessing that he is the defensive deck in this case. Which definitely can be correct. Here's an Avatar of the Resolute. So there is that there. So 2 mana 3/2 with Reach and Trample. When it enters the battlefield, it comes into play with a +1/+1 counter on it for each other creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. So it's going to grow both the Experiment 1s, also come into play as a 5/4 itself. So big creature for 2 mana there. Experiment 1s are now 3/3s. Looks like Mike decided again he did not want to trade away any of his creatures. I feel like I would have been a little more inclined to have attacked that turn. Rick having a read. So just Reach and Trample right now, just really big. Draw is another Windswept Heath. Okay, there's a Temple Garden. And here is an Ancient Stirrings. Yavimaya Coast, Path to Exile, Forest. And the last card I didn't get a good look at, it might have been a Sky Spawner number 2. It's like he's choosing. No, it's a Thought on. So that's even better. That is much better. Rick at 15 as well. He did. No, he fetched that. Never mind. Okay. Basic Plains. I imagine we're going to be seeing a Thought Knot Seer. Mike also assuming the same thing. Has his hand all ready to be looked at. So another Avatar of the Resolute, another Scavenging Ooze, and an Aspect of Hydra. So Aspect of Hydra, single green mana to give a creature +X/+X until end of turn, where X is equal to your devotion to green. Probably not the scariest card here. I feel like we're probably taking away the second avatar. If he gets to cast that, it comes down as a 6/5. That's pretty good. He's going to take away Aspect of Hydra. Okay. This seems like a bad attack. I think Rick forgot that Avatar has reach. I mean, not really a big surprise. Again, this isn't a deck you see very often. An Avatar is not a card you see very often either in Modern, so not a big shocker that he forgot it has reach and kind of walked into a giant wall with his flyer and had it killed. Ronus was the draw for Mike there. That's pretty good right now. It gets to attack and block already thanks to the Avatar being in play. Now Rick does play Path to Exile, of course, so he does have easy answers to Ronus. We do see Ronus come down, so it will also grow the Experiment 1s. So we have, what, a pair of 4/4s, a 2/2, a 5/4, and a 5/5 indestructible. It's a pretty good board state. Rick, I will say, has in hand a copy of Eldrazi Displacer, which is really good against Experiment 1 and Avatar the Resolute. Well, actually, to be fair, Avatar, if it's the first one blinked, doesn't matter. Because it'll come into play with the counters. So Rick counting his mana. Important thing, Rick only has one colorless source right now, but it is a temple, so it does let him use it for 2. So he still is able to play and activate Eldrazi Displacer if he'd like. And he will. He's going to leave himself... The only way he can use the ability now is by sacrificing his Scion token. There's also a Drowner in his hand, so that's what he was thinking about. He was counting his mana for that reason. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he could have played it if he wanted to, but... He's going to read Ronus. It's to grow something else and give it trample. Ronus himself has Death Touch. We're just going to path Ronus now, get it out of the way. So there is the answer that Rick does have in his deck for indestructible creatures. Another forest for Mike. It's kind of a weird board stall right now. At the moment we know Mike's hand is Avatar of the Resolute and a second Scavenging Ooze. Both of which Mike can play now because of the extra land given to him by Path to Exile. Explosives in hand for Rick as well. That's going to be really good on 2 mana if Mike plays his hand out here. Really, really good. Mike's draw was a force, which he'll play. He's also going to go ahead. He's going to get to eat with the Skoos first. Wow, this explosive is going to be insane. Here comes the Avatar that's going to get 4 counters. So it'll be a 7/6. Which does also grow Experiment 1s to make them 5/5s now. Because he does come into play with the counters on him already, so he comes into play as a 7/6, which is bigger than the Experiment 1 was, of course. Do you attack now? You got a pair of... We got like 2 5/5s. Well, a 3/3 is no good to attack with, but a pair of 5/5s and a 5/4, so you can attack for 15 here. Yep, okay. So in we come for 15 damage. Reshaper in front of one of the experiment ones, I guess, seems fine. Let it die, because who cares that much? We'll fetch and go get a basic forest. I feel like Rick's just like hoping that Mike plays main phase 2 Scavenging Ooze. Importantly, there are no other creatures in the graveyard for Mike to eat right now, so the second Ooze, or even the one in play right now, nothing able to grow it with. The cards in Rick's graveyard are all lands and instants. I feel like Rick is debating blinking the Avatar, but again, it doesn't. It's not just going to grow the Avatar. He'll take no damage from it, of course, but okay. I feel like Rick can be a little more, I don't know, careless or whatever, or he can be a little, I don't know. He's going to blink the Avatar. It's not going to match. He's going to grow the Avatar. Yeah, it comes into play with them, so it will come back into play with 4 counters on it instead. So Rick will take nothing here. Reshaper will die, reveal a Thought-Knot Seer, put it into his hand. That's not going to matter, though, because... Oh, is Viney going to... He's going to eat the creature in the graveyard. He's thinking about it. He's thinking of eating the Matter Shape. Oh, boy. Wow, Explosives on 2 is going to get everything except for the Experiment ones. Now, the ones are at the moment 5/5s, but again, Displacer is very good at resetting those. Yeah, that's pretty good. Mike Castor just kind of nod his head and say, yeah, it's a real good card right now. Good choice on playing the board wipe. Yeah, good choice on activating the board wipe. Okay. So away go the Avatars and the Scavenging Ooze oozes. Leaving Mike with a pair of 5/5s. Again, not bad by any means, but when your opponent has an active answer to both of them, you are not in a good spot. Yeah, Rick can even... I like attacking here. Rick, he can only take... Another Avatar doesn't buff these, neither does Leatherback Bell. Nothing buffs these any further, so he can only taking 10 next turn, so... Attack for 7 will bring Mike to 14. Mike untaps and draws. Nothing can kill Rick this turn. Actually, isn't there? Maybe there is. I don't know. I thought there was a Ball Lightning. Is there a Ball Lightning in this deck? It's like a green Ball Lightning. I can't remember what it's called. Doesn't matter. Here's an attack for 10. So Rick will fall to 6. There's Dryad Militant. That doesn't matter. That's a 2/1. So Rick now able to just... Drowner's also really good here. Let's put out 2 answers to stop your 5/5s. Attack for 7 more. Yeah, no, turn him sideways, Rick. You can't lose. Yep, just turn them both sideways. They're putting a lot more thought than he needs to into this turn. I think he's overthinking it here. Mike has no cards in hand, so he can't like ambush or displace her here. It's attack for 4, so I mean, he's still set up to lethal him in 2 turns regardless. Mike's just gonna take the 4 and fall to 10, and then we'll go back to Mike's turn. So I think he drew another Dryad Militant. I'm not sure. Groundbreaker. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there's a 6/1 trample haste at the end of turn, sacrifice it for 3. But technically I was wrong. Rick could have died last turn if Mike drew that. Somehow, Groundbreaker, not on Rick's radar though. You know, the 6/1 for 3 in green with trample and haste. No one ever sees that one coming. Oh yeah, getting in there. I mean, if Mike drew Aspect of Hydra, it's still not enough. The only card that's enough right now is Vines of Vastwood. That would be exactly 6. If Rick chose not to block. I think you can block with your Drowner, right? Yeah. Okay, so he did get Aspect of Hydra, so it wasn't enough to kill Rick, but it's enough to kill the Drowner. So that was Mike's hope. Mike was hoping Rick would block there, so he could at least prevent his own lethal next turn. Now, if Rick draws Smasher or Half Smasher, it's game over. We know Rick has Thought Knot. I've also seen a second Reshaper in his hand. Rick gets to attack here for 7. Bring Mike to 3. So Rick can't play Reshaper and Activate because that only has one colorless source, and that's the Temple. Yeah, Rick just says go. He's in a totally fine spot here. Forest is not going to be enough. 2 blinks on board. Blink this. Yeah, Mike, no response. Is already ready to pick it up and put it sideways. 5 coming across here. Rick tapped a little weird, but if he has a path, it doesn't matter. Which he does. So yeah, we're good. All right. Let's head to game 2. Our Eldrazi player is going to be up a game here, so Green Stomping going to have to try to find a way to fight back through this. Rick with just too many answers. I think I have 2 to be honest, but Displacer does a lot of work against things with +1/+1 counters on them. Just getting rid of them is obviously very nice. Doesn't obviously work very well as we saw against Avatar the Resolute, but that's fine. Alright, so heading into sideboards here. If Rick has any other copies of Engineered Explosives, we're going to see those come in here. We saw how good it was there in Game 1 when he got to put it on 2 and blow up 4 of Mike's creatures. It's a pretty good rate for 4 mana. Mike doesn't have any way to make his as indestructible. No. No, he's got ways to stop target removal, so he does have answers to path. He plays Blossoming Defense, Vines of Vastwood. Just those two, right? Yeah, so he has two ways to make them essentially hexproof, or just hexproof in general. See if he can find those. He didn't see any of those last game. Again, lots of pump spells as well. Aspect of Hydra is definitely one of the bigger ones for the Stompy deck. But if Rick's able to control the board enough, it'll minimize the effectiveness of that kind of card. So Stompy will have the play again. He has one in the main. He has one Groundbreaker in the main. Okay, so it's not... it wasn't a likely top deck. He was talking about it earlier, so that's the only reason I knew about it being in his deck. I forgot about it until... I also forgot what it was called. Until I thought about it there, but... Okay, there's a forest, there's an experiment 1, and we're off. So both players keeping, I believe Rick has an explosives in his hand. But he'll just play a Windswept Teeth and pass the turn. 2 mana, Strangleroot, guys. This is great with experiment 1. Gets to get in for 4 here. When it undies, it gets to usually buff the experiment 1 again. Rick also going to go ahead and sacrifice his fetch line down to 15 already, so... A faster start here for the Stompy player. Rick will fetch up a Hallowed Fountain. So we could see a Displacer here. We could see... a Sky Spawner here. We could see a Reshaper here. We could really see any of the 3-drops out of Rick's decks if he has a Temple to go with them. I'll draw the Temple. So that's what matters. Didn't have a turn 1 Noble Hierarch, which is, again, the ideal start for Bant Eldrazi, but... So Rick thinking here about what land he wants to play... makes me wonder if he probably doesn't have a Temple then. No, he does not. He has a Windswept Heath number 2, and then he has to pass the turn back again. So a slower start here for sure for our Eldrazi player this game. Makes me wonder what he kept. I believe I saw an Explosives, so that could be a pretty good reason. Experiment 1 comes down. That does not grow the first one, obviously. It's too small. If that is indeed an Explosives in his hand, he could put it on 1 and catch both of these. Another 4 comes across. Rick now at 11. And then we're going to pay 2 mana and play an Avatar the Resolute. So, alright. So he will come into play as a 4/3, which will grow both the Experiment 1s. Rick down to 10 here. So Rick is in trouble. He's facing lethal right now. And the Experiment 1s kind of got out of the... Well, at least one of them got out of the range of being killed by Explosives. Because it can save itself. That would prevent lethal, but... Rick needs something here. Like a Thought-Knot Seer is not enough. A Reshaper on its own isn't really enough. I don't think, right? Like, he still takes 7 that way? No, he takes 9 that way. There's a trample on the if he blocks the Avatar. Yeah, he takes 9 no matter how he blocks. Forest. Okay, Kitchen Finks. Okay. There's no Scavenging Ooze in play yet, so it doesn't get to be eaten just yet. I don't know what Mike just drew. Okay, this is an attack coming in for everything here. So we've got... Yeah, I think this is Mike just saying I have you dead no matter how you block. Because he can block the biggest creature that doesn't have trample, and that's the experiment 1 with 2 counters on it, which is 9, 13 damage. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so we're going to head to a game 3 here. Yeah, it doesn't matter how Rick blocks here. Vines of the Vastwood is enough here. Giving +4 to whatever. Avatar's the biggest, but it has trample, so blocking it doesn't do anything effectively. Yeah, so sure enough, we're going to head to a game 3 here. Stompy is able to tie it up. All right, so 2 very different starts there for both of our players that game for sure. Rick doesn't have his acceleration on turn 1, so he's left to play Fair Magic basically, which just slows him down. Mike, on the other hand, was able to curve out nicely into a 1-2-1-2. 1 drop, 2 drop, 1 drop, 2 drop in the same turn. So definitely a good turn there, or a good game there for Mike. That's what his deck wants to do. It just wants to curve out every turn, because it's usually it's small creatures that it's playing in the early. Well, not small creatures, but his early drops are usually just bigger than yours, as we definitely saw there. All right, Rick all ready to go. He does have to play this game. Rick notably also didn't have Path to Exiles that game. If he had explosives, it wouldn't have mattered. So. Yeah, just lots to go with here. All right, so these guys are going to take a look at their 7 here for the final game of our night. Okay, I see a Cavernous Souls, Yapamaya Coast, a Windswept Heath. A lot of lands, I think, for the Eldrazi player. And Explosive was the last card he picked up. I'm curious if that's enough for him to go off of. I mean, I didn't see all the cards in his hand, obviously, so he needs more than just explosives. I don't think you can keep on the power of explosives alone. Looks like Rick has capped, though. So has Mike. You have Maya Coast and a pass the turn. So again, no acceleration for the Eldrazi player. Treetop Village will be the turn 1 land for our Stompy player. So no turn 1 play for him either. Bit of a slower game here for both players. Lord of 42, hello to you, sir. Or madam, I don't know who you are, but hello. Cavernous Souls comes down. I don't know what it's on. My guess is Eldrazi, though. Treetop Village. Sean. Which Sean? I know many people named Sean. Sorry for Eldrazi. Yeah, it's got a lot. So we had quite a variation of decks tonight in the room. I will say that. Shrinkle Geist on turn 2 will swing in for 2. If I say I had a beard, does that fix anything? Sean, the beard.
Sean McKay? No, Sean.
Sean McKay, I guess.
No, Sean plays Pokemon. He used to play Pokemon.
I don't know. I'm just blanking. Martin gave me the last name you gave me the first time, so I don't know. I'm sure I do know you, but
Murphy. Sean Murphy.
He doesn't have a beard, though.
I think he has a little scrawny little beard, doesn't he?
Like Sean Murphy? No, can't be Sean Murphy. If it is, I mean... Does he have a beard, though? I don't think he has a
Sometimes
beard.
he wears a little
Sometimes, I guess. I don't know.
cat-like beard, you know?
All right, Matter or Shaper? Oh, okay, I know. Okay, now I know who you are. Yeah, Niagara College. That tipped me off. There we go. Now I'm aware of who you are, sir. How's it going? How is it going? That'll do it. That'll do it. All right. All right, so... Good to hear, man. So, yeah, here we had Reshaper blocked Stranglerootgeist, which revealed Ancient Stirrings. The follow-up was an Avatar of the Resolute. Now, if Rick has a fourth land that has a color to it, he can set explosives on 2 and pop it. Importantly, though, it has to have a color that's not green or blue. Or, well, it could be green or blue, it just can't. Yeah, whatever. He has, it doesn't matter. So I imagine we're going to see an Explosives come down on 2 here to kill Stranglerootgeist and Avatar the Resolute. Experiment 1, of course, will be left unchecked, but that's okay. So yeah, 1 point of damage going to Rick there. He's down to 16. And immediately just going to blow it up. No second thoughts. Leatherback Bailoff. There you go. 4-5 for 3. Get in for 4 points of damage. Rick down to 12 already here. Stompy looks neat. Yeah, Stompy's an interesting deck. Again, you don't see it very often anymore. There was a time where it was a little more popular. It's just really fast, aggressive green deck, right? So, okay, so 5th land for Rick. He's thinking over here what he wants to do. Path to Exile is in his hand. So he's got an answer to the Ballot, which is nice, or to the Experiment 1. He could have like a Smasher. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's awesome, Steven. Should have swung by. What are you doing? No, Stompy does not run Crater. If it's too high, it's just too expensive. The deck doesn't. Yeah, Vines on your opponent's Deceiver was really cool. Kitchen Finks comes in, so Rick up to 14. Crater Huff just costs way too much. The deck caps out, I think, at like 3, to be honest. And it's at this Baloth, and I guess now Ronus. Alright, here we come. In for 8. Finks gets to hop in front of 4 points of damage. And we're going to Pathway Experiment 1, which makes sense. Now, we've already seen Vines out of Mike, and I believe he has one in his hand. So, oh, I guess I'm wrong. So, down goes Experiment 1. No damage taken here. Up to 16 goes Rick, thanks to the Persist on the Kitchen Finks. Mike gets out a Forest from his deck. And a second Ballot will join the field. So we have a pair of 4/5s for the Stompy player, facing down 5 lands and a 2/1 Kitchen Finks for Mike, or for Rick rather. So Mike's in a pretty good spot, but Rick can play his own big creatures, and he also plays removal spells, which Mono Green doesn't have the liberty of playing. Mono Green removal is not really a thing. It's got some, but not a lot. Okay. Rick gonna go ahead and untap here. Needs one of his own big creatures, though. We know he has a Sky Spawner because he accidentally dropped it from his hand before. But it's chump blockers, but that's about all it is. Ancient Stirrings will help him find something, though. Hopefully. Explosives on 3 is pretty good in this spot. Also a Drowner of Hope in there. I think explosives is where you want to go, right? You have the ability to play it on 3 next turn and pop it, so it kind of puts your opponent on having to do something. And if you have land this turn that's colored, you get to do it. Instead, he takes Drowner of Hope. If he has Temple, he can also just play Drowner here. Nope. All right. Yeah, I feel like I really would have been inclined there if I was Rick to just go ahead and take that explosives, knowing I have Heath in hand, play the Heath and pop it off 3. But I guess he wants to have a little more insurance with that Drowner of Hope, just because. Oh yeah, there's Groundbreaker, and there's Groundbreaker for you guys there. So 3 green, 6/1 trample haste at end of your turn. At the end of turn, sacrifice Groundbreaker. So it's a ball lightning in green. Planar Chaos, of course, the set that threw all of the color, just color pie off of its hinges, whatever you want to call it. Rick, again, fairly certain just did not see that card coming. So, yeah, is just going to go ahead and block the pair of 4/5s. Man, this is going to get, what, +9? Oh, +18? That is the game. Mono green Stompy